Was the Philippine Air Force punished for escorting PBBM? Issues raised again against OPVs. Please like and share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Last September 20, 2022, the Philippine Air Force released pictures and videos of how two of their FA-50PH Fighting Eagle aircraft partially escorted the Philippine Airlines flight of President Bongbong Marcos when it was on its way to the United States for his official state visit there last September 18, 2022. I thought the pictures and videos were very well received. Not only were they posted a lot by the mainstream media, but it also proved quite popular in social media. However, only a day later, the News 5 organization published an article saying that an anonymous official of the Philippine Air Force told them that only 2 out of the 12 FA-50PH aircraft were operational, that they were trying to get back another 2 into operational status by November 2022. The Air Force did reply within the same article and said that it was not true that only 3 FA-50PH aircraft were operational, but refused to say exactly how many aircraft were flyable because of security reasons. Several days later, last September 25, 2022, the Air Force made an effort to show that they had at least 5 FA-50PH aircraft in operation when they published pictures and videos of them escorting the flight back to the Philippines of President Marcos. So let me just make some points about this whole incident. First of all, there seems to have been an effort to embarrass the Air Force when it escorted the president. The timing is undeniable. Everybody was happy to see it happening, and then the next day an anonymous official supposedly of the Air Force leaks to the press that they only have a few aircraft flying. The intent to malign the organization is just so obvious. Second, if the information about how many flyable aircraft the Air Force has is indeed a security issue, then why was an anonymous official of theirs allowed to leak that information out? Shouldn't this be treated as a serious security leak by the military, and that the Air Force should exert all effort to investigate and find out which official of theirs did that so he or she can be fired from the service? And take note, not only was the type of information leaked out to be sensitive, it was also false or fake news. Anyway, I hope things don't just end here and they do pursue this further, because if not, it will very likely happen again. Give it several months for things to cool down, and then whoever perpetrated this will simply do it again. Meanwhile, not only did the News 5 publication release the above report against the Air Force, but they also released another article earlier about the Philippine Navy's upcoming 1A-class offshore patrol vessels, or OPVs. News 5 posted an allegation by the Turkish company Asfat Incorporated that the planners at the Department of National Defense had changed the rules by removing the in-country production and technology transfer scheme for the vessels to favor the South Korean company Hyundai Heavy Industries, or HHI. Asfat claimed that they were not informed about the decision, and that the removal cost a shipyard in Bataan whom they intended to partner with to discard the possibility of creating 4,000 jobs for the construction of 3 of the 6 vessels. They also said that they were willing to provide between 4 to 8 unmanned sea vessels, or USVs, to go along with the vessels if the Philippines bought from them. However, this is not the first time this type of allegation was made against the offshore patrol vessels. Around the end of May 2022, the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption organization also made a similar allegation about the removal of the requirement to build some of the ships in the Philippines. This allegation was published in the press about a full month before the contract for the vessels was signed, and I even made a video about it then. So I think Asfat should have been aware already then on what happened. I think that the Department of National Defense should go out and answer allegations like these in public. They can't keep hiding behind the issue of national security, since that would only make it look like they are being defensive, and that they could be hiding something. And this is critical now that they have been asking for even more money to be spent for the modernization of the armed forces of the Philippines, so the public needs to be assured that those money are being spent properly. Personally, I think that the many unmanned vessels are great. They are the new emerging technology. However, these are small vessels with limited capabilities and armed only with short-ranged weapons. They also have limited range and endurance, so they need to be stationed on a ship to extend their range and endurance. A Pohang-class vessel on the other hand has much further range and endurance, and armed with better weapons even if they only have cannons and torpedoes as of now, and they can operate on their own. So to choose between one Pohang-class vessel and 4 to 8 unmanned sea vessels, I would prefer to choose the Pohang for now. I'm a bit sad to see ASFAT end up in an antagonistic situation like this with the Department of National Defense, because I had a good experience with them during the Asian Defense and Security event last April of 2022. When I asked, they allowed me to photograph and video their offshore patrol vessel and unmanned sea vessel offers to the Philippines, which is what you are seeing now and I am publishing for the first time. I almost forgot about them. I hope everything will eventually work out later. Turkey has a lot of other weapons and equipment to offer, and we already did buy their T-129B attack helicopters despite the delays they went through. To summarize, it seems that the Philippine Air Force was being intrigued about the number of FA-50PH aircraft they have in operable condition after they used the planes to escort President Marcos. And an allegation has again turned up about the offshore patrol vessel project of the Philippine Navy. Thank you for watching the video. I invite you again to like and share it, and subscribe to the channel.